Now a normal divination, when this card appears for you in a reading, right? If it fell in a reading from myself or some client or whatever, in a negative context, I would say it relates to egomania, recklessness, and imbalance, just like we said, not obeying certain laws or whatever. But on a positive level, you see, this card has so many great meanings. It's the card that tells you to take the risk, to make that leap in the dark, to go for broke, to break out of the box, to break with convention. Do you know how important that is? Do you know what happens on the journey of life when you really do that? When you make enemies of the people that are, closest around you? There's that individuality and independence motif again. The first breath. But you had one breath when you came out of the womb, but you could take that breath again. You could stand on your desk. You can be fearless. You can meet death, shake his hand, rise again. You can stumble over tragedy and get up again. You really can ask that question, who am I? You can do it. I know the parents and authorities don't like you to say it, but take my word for it. You can do it. One day will come when you say, where am I going? How did I get here? What am I doing here? Where am I going? How did anything get into existence? And who the hell am I? My advice to you is that you better start asking that question, because you may not have the faintest idea who you are. What you think that photograph, that snapshot on the family album is you? That's not you. That's not you. Go and look at it. What, you think that haircut and those idiotic shoes you're wearing is you? Is that an image of you? That's an image of the you your parents wanted. That's their configuration. That's their understanding. That's the you that's a mental idea in their head. It's not you. And you're never going to be able to find out the difference unless you undertake that journey. Stand on your desk. Oh, captain, my captain, look at life with a different perspective. Stop being chained to the expectations and needs of others and try to free them from your own. Try to be unpredictable is what this card is saying, rather than just fixed. And we need to also do that sometimes. We need to not be afraid of losing sight of the old shores if we want to look at the new ones, discover new unfamiliar environs. You see, we have to have the guts to let go of the known, not cling to the past. But see, what does that mean, not clinging to the past? Maybe it means that we also can't be always wallowing in the successes of the past. To really inherit the new, you can't think about past successes, and you certainly can't think about past hurts. You've got to let it all go. Can you do that? Are you capable of doing that? That's what this card is demanding from you. A complete break, a new breath. Because we're hurt once. But we mentally re-stab ourselves thousands of times by mulling over it, thinking on it again and again and again. The death of 1,000 cuts. Life hurts us once, but we ruminate over it endlessly, excessively, breaking our body, breaking our mind under the pain of it all. So can we leave the comfort zone? Can we walk those roads less traveled? That's what this is all about. To do that, of course, implies deeper capacities. The unflinching belief in ourselves. But we don't know what. Unflinching belief in ourselves. Every pat on the back we get, every time we've been accoladed, it's somebody else telling us you're the best. You're the loveliest, the handsomest, the strongest, the fastest, the best, the brainier, the brainiest. We're going to stand for that every single affirmation we've ever got has been from other people, and every affirmation they've got has been from other people. Is there ever going to come the day when we pat ourselves on the back and stop the endless flow, the endless barrage of self-sadism that goes on silently on an unconscious or subconscious level? Can we let that weight go? Can we let that incessant voice, can we silence it for once and just be with ourselves? Not be so reliant on other people telling us, yeah, you're a good boy, good girl. And also what the card is telling us, obviously, is that not only can we let go of this burden of the past, can we learn to kill tragedy with laughter? Can we laugh when we're ready to, completely break? Can we just put on that Charlie Chaplin or that Black Adder, or that Monty Python, or whatever, you know, makes you like giggle, makes you laugh. In the worst, darkest time, can you use that alchemy? Can you do that? Can the tears that fall be tears of just absolute laughter by watching Harold Lloyd or Buster Keaton? Because laughter kills tragedy. That's a certainty. That's a law. And we might need that law at the times of great tragedy in our lives. And also, are we flexible and light enough to change instantly? Because life sometimes throws at us great opportunities, but they come and they go so fast that you can't even grasp them. So the fool is flexible. He's open. He's not so fixed that great opportunities pass by. What I'm basically talking about, as I've said so many times throughout my work, is that there's two different kinds of enlightenment. And you only need to look at this card to know exactly what I'm talking about, because they're both there. There's the luminescence of the sun. And we've talked about the solar properties of this card, by all means. But there's also something else about this card, is there not? Something else about the image. There's a kind of a lightness in weight. That's a kind of enlightenment. How complex your life is, how fixed, or how childlike and innocent. Can we remain childlike and innocent through all of the different harangues that we meet? Or do we just get buried under it all? And that innocence gets lost. Now, on the highest symbolic level, you see, this card represents the idea that, because if you look at it, what is it? This is the first card, so it's incarnation. Descent from the high place into the low place. But it's asking us to think about the question of whether we believe that we came into this universe from outside of it or somewhere else, or whether we're part of it. We are expressions and emanations of the creation. And the external creation is an emanation of our own being. One could extrapolate this, at great length. Can we understand that the universe has hosted us? It's made us. And that we are guests here. It would be nice, wouldn't it, if we actually acted like good guests, but maybe that's too much to ask. But the idea is that now that we are here, just like this fool character, can we always keep a sense of wonder and awe, and more importantly even gratitude for existence? Can we also understand that in order to even know that there's a world out there, we have 5 different ways of doing it, and there's a miracle in that, right? We got 5 senses. Imagine you only had one, right? You got sight. Sight works on a completely different mechanism and system and circuitry than hearing, right? Now move to hearing. Hearing moves on a different circuitry and mechanics than sight. And so it is with all of them. They're all separate. And the bringing together of all of those, the uniting of all the senses, I might split yourself down into each one of those 5. Separate them like a Lego set and think about it. That your knowledge of the world outside you and your knowledge of yourself is the coming together and working of 5 completely different systems and subsystems. And if that's not a miracle, I don't know what is. And once you've understood that, what goes into making you, then a different kind of reverence and gratitude, and a different kind of lightness, a different kind of bearing, a different kind of character comes about. Now we went into this in great depth in the Disciples of the Mysterium book, this whole concept of caring and gratitude on a deep level, a deep fundamental level. And this kind of wonder, sense of imagination, openness, is very key to mystery. Because mystery surrounds us. Errancy surrounds us, but also mystery. There's always something, there's an end in time. There's never going to be a time when you know everything. We're in an information-rich, information-packed universe. What does that tell us? That no matter how long you lived in years, could you ever come to the end of knowing things? Have we ever thought about that for a moment, what that implies? The Buddha was asked a question about this kind of thing, about spiritual liberation, and he said, well, there's really good news and bad news. The bad news is that there are no keys to enlightenment, but the good news is the doors were never locked. All the doors of mystery are open to you, particularly the mystery of your existence and your importance here, once you understand it. But the thing that I like personally about this first card, I think it's so important, is just this blissfulness and almost, I hate to use the word, but it's almost like blissful indifference that you see on the upturned face of the character. Because for me, that is the face of that true enlightenment, not in the solar mode, but in this other more realistic mode of lightness. This kind of cosmic sympathy that was common to the ancient sages, but is completely lost to us today, right? Lost to the moderns. It's the face of the eudaimon, in the sense that the Athenian sages, the Greek mystics and philosophers understood it. The eudaimonia, the supremely happy man. He's come to his center. He's let go of his karma and he's in his dharma. That means his authentic life purpose. He is present in the universe. He's got complete faith that he's going to be taken care of. That's what you see in that countenance. That's what you see in his attire. The innocence and the purity, and the fact that he hasn't had to drag a whole caravan along with him, and that he can pack light. He's not distracted by any kind of mysteria. He doesn't need to be sending his mind into flights of fantasy or into any kind of obscurity. He's facing reality absolutely as it is. He embarks upon a journey, but he knows that that journey is eternal. It's a journey that really never comes to the end. And as I said, it's a journey that has to have a balance, isn't it? If you focus too much on the horizon, well, you miss the miracle and the beauty of the steps you're taking. But if you're too hyper-focused on the steps, then you're like one of these monks coming down from the Himalayas, their eyes half closed, not seeing any of the beauty around them at all, ringing their bells, rolling their beads, stuttering their mantras, and absolutely oblivious to what's going on around them. So you're too close or you're too far away.